The moment I plowed my uncle's rickety old John Deere tractor right through Linda Grayson's Dula 7000 prefab shed while she stood on her porch in a lavender satin robe, gripping a coffee mug that proclaimed the Queen Bee, was the moment I realized suburban life wasn't for the weak-willed. It was 6:45 a.m. on a Tuesday. Birds sang, sprinklers twirled, and I, a mostly rational guy just 3 months into owning a home, had officially lost it. But before you write me off as the lunatic who turned a perfectly good shed into a pile of splinters and plaster, let me rewind to how this all kicked off with a handshake, a blueberry muffin, and a property line crossed in more ways than one. 3 months earlier, I'd inherited my Uncle Ray's rundown house in Pinewood Estates, a neighborhood where every lawn looked like it belonged in a magazine and every grin masked an HOA complaint form. The place was a wreck, gutters drooping like exhausted brows, a backyard more dandelions than grass, and a mailbox tilting forward like it was spilling gossip. But the mortgage was paid off, and as a freelance graphic designer fried from city chaos, it seemed like the fresh start I craved. What I didn't bargain for was my new neighbor, Linda Grayson, lying in wait for someone like Manu, maybe a little too trusting, and ripe for her special blend of HOA tyranny wrapped in neighborly charm and baked treats. Our first meeting felt harmless enough. She showed up with a tray of blueberry muffins and a clipboard, which, in hindsight, should have set off alarms. Linda was the type who turned courtesy into a weapon. Her hair was a blinding shade of platinum, her voice as syrupy as cough medicine, and she had this smile that screamed she'd already caught you slipping. "Welcome to the neighborhood, Ethan," she said, shoving the muffins into my hands and tapping her clipboard. "We're so thrilled you're here. Just a few little HOA things to cover, nothing big." That was the start of my downfall. Within 2 weeks, I'd racked up 4 citations. One for my mailbox's unacceptable lean, one for excessive lawn gnome density, another for an unpermitted yard decoration, a faded pelican from the 90s, apparently, and the last for my hedges being 2 inches over regulation height. Linda had clearly made me her pet project. I tried to keep the peace, I even straightened the mailbox. Then came the shed. One Sunday, I got back from the store to find a crew hammering together a hulking metal and VYNYL shed right at the edge of Linda's yard. And I don't mean close to the property line, I mean it was practically doing a split across it. The thing was hideous beige, loud, an assault on good taste that somehow dimmed my spirit just by existing. "Linda," I said, strolling over as coolly as I could, "that's kind of on my land." "Oh, honey," she chuckled, like I'd misread a soup label. "That's not your land." I double-checked with the HOA-approved survey. "You must be mistaken." I wasn't mistaken. I had Uncle Ray's original land survey stashed in a drawer, complete with his shaky scrawl and a random sketch of a squirrel in a bow tie, and it showed that shed was 3 feet into my turf. At the HOA meeting that week, I brought it up, but Linda whipped out a laminated, color-coded map that magically erased my chunk of the property and mumbled something about easement clause 9C. The board voted 8-1 against me. I was the one. Things spiraled fast. I set up motion sensor lights that tripped whenever someone crossed my yard. Linda reported them for light trespassing. I threw up a temporary privacy fence. She filed a violation for unapproved structures. One night, I tweaked my sprinklers to accidentally douse the shed by morning. A fine was taped to my door in a Ziploc bag with a note. "Let's keep it friendly, smiley face." That's when I started wondering if the shed was more than storage. I'd catch lights flickering inside at weird hours, strangers slipping in and out of Linda's driveway, vanishing into it. Once, I saw someone lug in a briefcase, then leave with it an hour later. I half-joked to myself it was a drug den or a crypto rig, maybe both. Then I found a rusty lockbox in Uncle Ray's attic labeled Boundary Facts. The joke stopped. Inside were legal papers, old HOA letters, and a 1995 surveyor's map pro-VY-ing the property line sliced right through where Linda's shed sat. A post-it from Uncle Ray read, in his usual oddball style, "If she builds a shed, smash it." Trust me, I didn't trust much, but I trusted him. I gave Linda one last shot at reason. I showed her the docs, offered to split the cost of shifting the shed 3 feet. She laughed like I was a bad stand-up comic. "Touch that shed, and I'll drown you in HOA lawsuits so bad you'll need a lawyer to water your plants," she said, sipping lemonade like it was venom. That's when I decided, not out of anger, not even spite, but principle. Plus, I found the tractor keys in a hollowed-out gnome. For days, I planned. I greased the tractor, charged its battery, practiced driving it around my yard like I was prepping for a wrecking ball audition. Then I picked the morning calm, sunny, birds chirping, sprinklers humming. Linda stood on her porch, clueless. I waved politely. She lifted her mug. Then I shifted into gear. The tractor growled, the shed shattered like a cheap toy, and Linda's scream was a cocktail of shock, fury, and denial. That's when it all unraveled: the drama, the lies, the fake maps, the real boundaries, the HOA scams, even the crypto hustle I hadn't fully pieced together yet. It wasn't just a shed. It was war. You'd think flattening the shed would have settled things, that Linda might slink off to nurse her wounds and leave me to mow in peace. Nope. If anything, I torched her pride worse than her shed, and Linda Grayson didn't lose quietly. What followed was a week-long petty siege that'd impress a chess master. First, the flowers not mine, hers blood roses. I called them Sias red blooms with thorns like switchblades, planted overnight along our now crystal-clear property line, leaning just far enough over to nick me when I mowed. Then the music: Linda, who'd once griped about my wind chimes, now blasted manic Olin solos from hidden garden speakers, like her bushes were hosting a breakdown in formal wear. The real kicker? A wax-sealed letter slid under my door. To whom it may concern, your actions violate HOA Resolution 9 unauthorized destruction of adjacent property. Appear at a re-VYEW hearing in 72 hours or face fines, legal action, or further HOA measures. Signed, Linda Grayson. With an HOA logo, I'm pretty sure she doodled herself a poodle in a tie. I considered skipping it, but curiosity won. The meeting was of Farsate board members in a lemon bleach-scented clubhouse, sipping decaf, nodding as Linda listed my crimes like I'd robbed a bank. He demolished private property. He defied HOA rules. He aimed his sprinklers at my path. That wasn't on purpose. I cut in. It's where they're set. It was psychological warfare, she hissed. A water torture of the spirit. Her daughter, Sarah, sat in the back, arms crossed, cheeks flaming, clearly the only one there who saw through her mom's circus. Linda ended with a smug. I propose Resolution 9C. No property disputes under 10 square feet can be challenged by residents here less than 6 months. That's not a rule, I said. It is now, she smirked. The board dazed by her charm, or maybe her muffins voted 8-1 again. Walking out, Sarah caught me in the lot. She won't stop, she murmured. Be careful. What? Is she a mob boss? I quipped. She paused. You're not wrong. She didn't laugh. Back home, I dug into Uncle Ray's box again. Amid a receipt for 19 gnomes and a rant to some gate guy Greg, I found gold. A notarized 1995 survey with diagrams showing the shed's spot was mine. I hired a pro surveyor clipboard. Laser, zero patience for drama. After 2 hours, he confirmed. Yep, her shed was 3 feet onto your land. You were right to take it down. I got it in writing. That night, I spotted a hooded figure darting from the shed rubble with a black case, vanishing into Linda's place. I tweaked my cameras. Next day, the HOA called me gnome in shades was suly hostile. Then Sarah showed up with brownies and a grim look. The shed wasn't just storage, she said. My dad ran something shady. After the divorce, Mom kept his gear crypto stuff, drives, coins. The shed held it. That briefcase you dislodged? It had the backup keys. I gaped. She's laundering crypto? Maybe, Sarah shrugged. She's freaking out now. I glanced at the tarp-covered ruin. So she might actually off me? She didn't reply, just handed me a brownie. Get a lawyer. Or a tank. The war wasn't about roses anymore. It smelled like fraud and melted VYNYL. And it was far from over.